I wonder what the final pick is here for Massaros. I mean, it doesn't really feel like they've got the greatest playmaker right now on Motivate's end. You have the Monkey King, it's okay. I mean, the Death Prophet can be quite hit or miss as well. It does feel like Massaros is going to have to be the playmaker, unless they're going to play a very slow game here against AG, which could also be the case. But you would like to see something that can, stun, initiate, just frontline for the team, allow them to play that 4 Protect one they do enjoy playing on Motivate, especially with the Medusa on their side. Any ideas, John, for Massaros here in this offlane?
I feel like they might actually just run the DP offlane. Get something else for Fearless
Oh, I
Mid. That
see.
could be the possibility because they're banning out the Ember Spirit on AG's side. They're having a really long think as to what to do next because that flex is still there for the DP. And we've seen Motivate.Trust do that before. They used to run Massaros offlane DP a lot more often. They always give Fearless a much more momentum-based hero down mid. They could kind of be sneaky here in Motivate.Trust and just go for something with push. The Leshrac would have worked. They could still line up for, say, a DK. So DK DP, level 6 timing, shove in lane. Gives you your stun as well you're looking for there, Mike. Not in wide AoE, but you might be able to get away with just a single target stun in this game. You don't have the options for wide control. Mars, Tidehunter banned out. See the Night Stalker banned out as well. Kind of protect the backline here on Motivate.Trust. And we'll have to see. It's still very flex for Motivate, whereas for Army Geniuses, they are looking for the Wami hero. No option for the LC. And there is the option for Timbersaw. I don't know if it's a really good Timbersaw game. With a DP on hand, with a Shadow Demon to disrupt you, it can be pretty hard to just frontline. There's the Demonic Purge as well to get you slowed down, and that could make it hard to line up for the chains as well. But
Right.
laning-wise, it's also not the best time. Mystic Snake makes it very hard for you to maintain your spell spam, so you're going to be relying much more on your Soul Ring, and that only gives you so much mana. There's a window there for Jackie to keep farming up.
Oh, they're going to go the Pango route instead. So, I mean, that offers some great team fight, and you're not very susceptible to dying to this Medusa, or being kind of affected by her during the laning stage either. It should be just fine. Motivate.Trust. I think you might be right about the Massaros offlane Death Prophet here, John. Thing is, if you go DP into Void Spirit in the mid lane, it's a bit rough because the DP just can't... You can't really Spirit Siphon Void Spirit because he will just kind of dissimulate and get the hell out of there. It'd be a very annoying matchup. What else do you want, though? Again, I feel like they are lacking some form of team fight, some lockdown, some playmaking here in Motivate. Whereas Army Geniuses, their draft just looks very solid and well-rounded. Again, last game on the puck, he just did not have a good time.
Yeah, it was a rough one. I think for Fearless, perhaps it doesn't really give you some flashy plays, but the DK could be a stable foundation. You could still flex it for Massaros, run the DP mid, or just run DK mid, DP offlane. Still, again, getting that level 6 spike for a great push coming through. AoE control, it's not going to be amazing, though. Not much left on mid to give you that great AoE hold. Maybe something left field, like say the Outworld Devourer, could work. OD will give you control. These heroes aren't high int scaling heroes. You get some good damage for the Terrorblade scaling up as well. It can be slow going, which is the issue with the OD pick.
Oh.
They go with Bloodseeker instead. So Massaros Bloodseeker, they will stick to the Fearless Death Prophet mid. And that's interesting. That's a direct counter to Pangolier. So they just want to ensure the roll it's not going to be an issue. It's something with Bloodseeker, right? Like, even if you counteract an enemy core, it always feels like the hero has very specific timing. So I want to see Motivate.Trust play to those timing strengths. Just go online early, play your 4 Protect 1 fast, and have Jackie go for maybe a faster build-up, say Dragonlance, Manta, or Dragonlance SNY. You can actually join some fights early if you have a Mask of Madness on top of that. If you do play a slow game, you risk not having great scaling on the DP and the Bloodseeker, whereas for AG, you've got great scaling coming out from Void Spirit, the Terrorblade. Again, at farm parity, he's going to have a better time, and the Pangoliers are going to be a bit of an issue. Wami could always farm up for Diffusal, amp up the mana burn on the Medusa, just ensure the shield's not going to be a factor. That is one way to kind of shut down Jackie here.
Okay, let's see it. It's not often you see Jackie losing this Medusa, so... regardless of the rest of the draft, which does look a little bit strange, it's all about protecting that one hero once again. John, do you find that Motivate has the better draft? Do you think AG's got the more solid draft this time around?
I would actually go with AG. I think their timings with the Turbo Blade are a lot tighter. And they're going to be able to take some really good fights here. Their AoE control is also lacking, right? But they at least have the cookies for area denial. They've got the Tombstone to make Motivate.Trust think twice about where they fight. And Pangolier can provide him some of that AoE control with the Rolling Thunder. So I think AG has that earlier spike lined up. For Motivate.Trust, they're going to have to stall for the Dusa. But saying that, though, and that does play into how Motivate.Trust likes to play anyway. They like to get big on Jackie, sacrifice their farm for that one win condition, and Jackie always delivers. So draft-wise, I'll lean Army Geniuses. Execution-wise, though, I think Motivate.Trust, they've just got something they enjoy playing.
We're just covering both bases, huh, John? Yeah, fair enough. I see what you're doing. And I know you don't like to be wrong. I know you, John. It's fine. We'll let you be right this time around. Unless both teams just lose by both disconnecting or something. It would be pretty hilarious. I'd love to see that. But not really, considering we are at the end of the group stage. Yes, John, what is it?
I'm wondering, what does happen if, say, both teams disconnect, but are unable to reconnect? What happens? Do you just call that? Do you reschedule? Do you just unpause the game and watch the creeps push and figure out who wins from natural push? Like, what happens there? I am curious if that's covered by rules. Well, I don't think we'll ever see it, but that's a fascinating thought experiment, isn't it, Mike?
Don't hold your breath, John. We might see it. This is SCA after all. You never know. So, Jackie, giving the shout-outs. Very nice to see. I'm not sure what Vrish is saying. Jackie's not too happy about it. 10-0, meanwhile, they're going to get caught out. It's all a bit of a bait, it seems. The old chat not going to pay off for Motivate. Zura going to take the first blood. Jackie was trying to be nice. Jackie was trying to be nice, and there you go. Jackie, he's pointing it out. They got baited by the old chat.
You gotta love it. AG, Motivate.Trust. I love it when these guys fight each other. They've just got so much to say. And for some reason, Risman gets raised up. Well, why does Jackie have to bring in Risman?
It's always Risman. I'm not sure. He always gets involved in the conversation somehow. I don't know what he said either. That's the worst part. I mean, I'm pretty sure. Is it Indonesian they're speaking, John? Is it?
Yes.
Right, okay. So I'm sure somebody in Twitch chat will be able to translate, and maybe you can have a watch of the Twitch chat, John, so you can translate. You know what? Don't even do that, John. You're not going to be able to translate later on. It's fine. It's 5 minutes later. It's just no point. You've got to do a better job, John. I can't have you here without these translations.
Well, unfortunately for you, Mike, I barely can translate Filipino. Asking me to translate Bahasa on top is going to be a bit of a challenge. Still, what is challenging are the lanes as well. AG, we see LYM already copying some hits from Q. He is a very effective Monkey King. He does have that Jingu leveled up, so he can trade hits favorably. It's going to be tough for AG to kind of angle themselves there. Of course, he is helping out Jackie and Medusa. We talked about Wami on the Pangolier. Maybe having some control once the Rolling Thunder's up. Maybe looking for a defusal build to melt Jackie's mana down the line. Could be something he goes for. Pocketing his level 1. The lane again is not the smoothest. You can play around with Swash, and I think you might have to emphasize the Swash for the lucky shot in this case, just to prevent Jackie from farming up. But you're already seeing Jackie leverage his level 1 presence up there in CS. Wami not, again, able to contest too much. Heck, not even able to CS himself all too well here.
Yeah, I mean, the base damage of Medusa is kind of ridiculous. It's 61 at level 2. Doesn't feel very fair. Still, mid lane. Zura against Fearless. Void Spirit versing Death Prophet. During the draft stage, John, I did say I didn't think Fearless would be able to really maximize the Death Prophet's utility in this mid lane against the Void Spirit. We'll see what he can get done. Dissimulate is on cooldown for now, so he can get a bit of damage out with the Spirit Siphon. Thing is, every time it's off cooldown, you're essentially just wasting a charge of that Siphon, so there's really no point to it. But I suppose if you can wait it out, you can get something done.
Yeah. And I like this from Fearless. He holds the lane, clears out the creep wave, so it's going to be shoved in. Walks out for his own water rune refill. He's going to be having a good time. Azura does manage to get the same done. He's going to hold the lane. I think for the most part, this is going to be a very even lane. You can't really get too aggressive against a DP. She has self-sustain with Spirit Siphon once that's level 2 at level 4. You can't really commit. She's going to have enough charges to live through, and I think for Azura, you just focus on that CS, keep building up, try to rush your level 6. I think that's when the jump in from the Void Spirit becomes a lot better. Fearless might have the Ghost up, but the damage output of that is a bit slower to kind of rip through there.
Yeah. Last lane, of course, top lane, you've got DB and Varish against Masaros, and of course, Set Zero. The Bloodseeker, I mean, you and I, we have very negative thoughts about this hero, but Masaros, we'll see if he can make it work. But now he is CSing just fine, and doesn't feel like he's going to be too slowed down. Varish, really no impact on the Undying right now in this safe lane. And he's completely out of mana. Does have one Mango left and does have more on the way very soon, but could be another 30 to 40 seconds before they're out. In fact, DB now. Also going to be careful about how far he goes. Because when you get Disruption to Bloodright, it is a fair amount of damage, and you can't forget the Shadow Poison as well. It is going to start to add up onto DB. Bot lane though. Q ends up going down, Wami able to pick up the kill. And OIM barely able to get out with his life intact.
Yep. Great back and forth trade. You have to respect the minus armor coming through with the little shredder and how much the Pangolier can play off the back of that swashbuckle is physical damage. You can just melt through a Monkey King early on. Monkey, 6 armor goes down to 0 when full level shredder is expended. You will win out in that exchange. Still, I don't think Jackie's going to mind too much. Has a lot of CS going his way. And Wami's still kind of lagging behind compared to our Terrorblade, where it's a lot more even with a Terrorblade and Bloodseeker. And there's that combination with a Blood Riot.
And there they go, DB. Taking a substantial damage. The body blocks are there. DB, he's going to be able to get through. Scary moment. In fact, speaking of scary, Varish is chasing down Set Zero, but the salve is out. Looks like Set Zero may make it, but no, it's cancelled. He's in trouble now. Still trying to juke out. In the meantime, DB still dropping very low, but does get salved by Varish. And somehow Set Zero gets himself out of there. In fact, he's still around trying to cancel the salve of DB, and eventually might just deny himself off to the tier 2 tower, though DB trying to get it in range for the reflection. Oh, he does get it too. Very nice. Set Zero does go down. DB able to pick up his first kill of the game.
It's a strong start for Army Jeans. A 0-3 start. Finding all the kills. They're maybe not getting the most CS, but they are trading in very well.
Yeah, Q going to drop it down to the bot lane again. The second death for the Monkey King already. Wami taking his second kill of the game, and considering how bad of a start he had in the lane, these 2 kills should help him catch up quite nicely.
Yeah, it's a great start. Once more, AG starting to find the levels, starting to find that presence in the laning phase. We always talk about Motivate.Trust struggling in laning into mid-game. I figured it improved over the past few days, but it looks like it's rearing its head once more. AG just on the offensive much earlier on. Motivate.Trust not quite ready to reciprocate. They are still having a good time on Jack, so I think overall for Motivate.Trust, the key thing is their big cores aren't dying. They're only really losing supports, and in the end, all you want is Jackie and Fearless to kind of hit their early spikes. Everyone else can kind of toss their bodies out to get that done.
X is in pop mid lane. Fearless, he is going to be lacking a creep wave now as it is pulled away, and the exorcism might just be wasted. Nice little play there from Azura to just understand it's not worth bringing that creep wave underneath the tier 1 with the siege creep. In the meantime, DB is being dived right now into the tier 1 tower, but he's going to be okay as Wami's rotated on the Pango. That is going to leave the off lane completely free now for Army Geniuses. Nevertheless, mid lane, Fearless just getting dived by 3 heroes, but is not going to drop. Just fine, but they do protect that tier 1 tower.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I like seeing this coming out from Motivate.Trust. They finally do find that kill up top on DB. Just not enough to save from Wami. No Rolling Thunder means that they couldn't really stop that deep dive in. And all the space being created for Jackie is just ridiculous. Like, our Medusa's up there in CS and in net worth as well by a substantial amount at this early point. They are building up the stacks already, so there's some good farm to clear out. Not much, but as long as the triangle stays in Motivate.Trust's control, there is going to be farming issues abounding for AG. They do have a nice early triangle ward in already from AG, but they have to make sure that they can fight for those stacks sooner rather than later They are getting levels up. Azura's level 7, has the steps ready to go. Does not have the mana pool to sustain a jump in. I think we have to see the Void Spirit leave lane. Like, sure, there's a chance Fearless goes in for a push with the Exorcism, but you've got to apply some pressure. You need to shut down Jackie, make him have an awkward time building up, because we saw it in Game 1, Mike. Even if the rest of the team has a rough start, Jackie will always catch up, and the investment almost always pays off.
Yeah, Barish top lane, been caught, but with the TP, should be just fine. And that's TP there from our Undying as, well, mid lane, Azura now is trying to go for the dive in onto Fearless, but you haven't got really any way of locking him down unless Wami does get the Rolling Thunder, and that's a nice jump up. Disruption is going to try and help out Fearless, but they should have the control, but they miss everything. The cookie was not there at the right time, so Fearless is not going to take enough damage. They're still trying with the step charges in, but he's healing up throughout all of it. Azura finally takes him down, but now how does he get out? He has no mana. Mystic Snake going to take even more away, and eventually he should just go, although he does step charge back into the tier 3. Set 0, the one to claim the kill on the Shadow Demon.
Yeah, and Motivate.Trust are starting to find those favorable trades. Again, I don't think the target has to be the DP. You need to make a move on Jackie. Instead, Jackie shows mid. He'll clear out the wave. He'll start playing in the triangle as Set 0 builds up more stacks. That's going to be a bit of an issue. And Jackie already having what seems to be the Dragonlance flying in, and is going to have a lot of damage to deal. Has a split shot at 3, and they just find a freebie on LYM. So Motivate.Trust getting that presence out. AG, that early laning aggression just not transitioning to post-laning phase win yet. And I think they are being held back by having to wait for a DB to recover from his slow lane. He's at 3.6k net worth, Mike. Way behind compared to Medusa. We talked about Medusa having to have a net worth lead. This does set up for Jackie to hit that spike.
Absolutely. DB going to try and catch up now in the jungle, but got a bit of work to do here on this Terrorblade. Very concerning signs, though. We've seen this many times from Motivate. They're getting away with it quite easily so far. AG may not have the tools to try and infiltrate that die, or rather Radiant Triangle, anywhere near yet.
A lot of nothing in your future.
Still, Fearless just constantly trying to pressure that mid-tier 1 tower. Does have another Exorcism up. I think this time around they'll focus on top tier 1 instead. The mid-tier 1 is being protected rather heavily. Well, a nice scan out from AG. He's going to spot the rotation towards the top lane. Rish, though, not spotted yet, but eventually will get found out. Purge is there. They'll lock him down long enough, I think, and he should be dead. And will be.
Gonna lead to that push. No real defense coming out from AG. They're focused on maybe getting a bit of a shove in themselves. And Motivate.Trust with the top tier when cleared out does open up lots of safe farm for Jackie. It makes it harder to invade that jungle. Jackie just holding mid. All of that breaks down. Nothing to pressure to do so. Level 10 up. So the value point in Stone Gaze is there. Jackie's going to be protected if he does get jumped. AG will go for the bot tier 1 tower trade. Q giving some good info from the tree line. They won't be able to defend, but they're not going to find a kill either from AG, and they commit a lot more heroes to get that tower taken away.
Yeah. Q is going to keep stalking DB now.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Motivate.Trust. Looking again towards that mid-tier 1 tower. I think with the way Jackie's farming, that there won't really be too much of a necessity to really just try and barge it down, but I mean, if you can, you may as well take it. Jackie is really starting to escalate though in farm. Almost 7k net worth now, almost has the manta up. Just happily, without any kind of contest, continue going after those creeps, and now Azura, somewhat surrounded, but does spot out the rotation. Go down towards the bot side and does get the illusion rune. But Masteros now has the Rod of Atos up, so you've got some decent lockdown for that Void Spirit. I think it might be about time for them to try again onto that tier 1 mid, and Hell, they might even do it the slow way with the Shadow Demon Illusions. It is very slow. They'll get to it eventually.
Yeah. AG, just not quite ready for the full clump up. They are zoning out Motivate.Trust, but it's a rinse and repeat. Jackie shelves lane, goes for a push, goes back, farms triangle, rinse and repeat. They've got good wards in top jungle here as well coming out from Motivate.Trust, so they can control that area. You can see AG just completely avoiding their side of the map, playing on bot jungle. DB still trying to play catch up. And as a Terrorblade, you do want to maintain farm parity with Deuces. You don't want to have to deal with an item advantage. DB's still a long way off from kind of playing catch-up. 1.7k gold is significant enough. That's a faster Manta for Jackie. That's going to be more stats for Jackie, and more that DB has to deal with if they do face off. Motivate.Trust just playing forward with Fearless showing. He still has the EXO ready to go, but not really looking to commit it just yet. With the travels, he can work his way around the map quite fast and just keeps finding farms. So Motivate.Trust are much more efficient right now in getting gold on their other cores. Fearless is just about as farmed as DB. Only Master is really taking a step back, but he is on a Bloodseeker. Smoke out for Motivate.Trust. Let's see if they catch someone big here.
And Bloodrite is there. Motivate.Trust to lock down Wami. He will still be able to avoid the silence, though, just in the nick of time. But with the Rupture out, there's not really much he can do. He was never going to commit the Rolling Thunder, as that would not have saved. And Fearless, well, he's going to miss out on the double damage. Varish will be able to deny that away. Just take it for himself. Doesn't really matter, though. I mean, they haven't really got an objective to play for right now on Motivate. Just seems like if Jackie's farming, there's just nothing to do at the moment. Sure, you could start working towards that top tier 2 tower, but it is still very early. I think you might at least want that level 2 exorcism to really start to get that done. You could try to hunt DB, but I think Motivate might be quite confident that this Medusa is still well and truly ahead in terms of net worth. And instead, it's going to be AG that group up as 4 now and try to make their rotation up towards the north. Scan out is going to catch Fearless. Be a nice pickoff for them. Yeah, I'm going to wrap around the long way. Try and get this done. Problem is, though, Set Zero is in position to break the smoke. Barely misses out, though. And it's all too late. They've got the Death Prophet. Disruption is going to buy a bit of time. Fearless, can he find a way out? He's trying. In fact, Masteros is going to rotate now. They're going to force a fight out. Wukong's command is there. Rupture committed on Wami, but nobody's dead quite yet. AG, they might be able to turn again. Varish copying a lot of damage, but still alive. Jackie now to show up on the Medusa. They do at least get LYM, and now they found Varish. In fact, now Wami not out of danger yet either. Jackie going to be forced to Stone Gaze. Try and fight back against AG as Wami's going to jump back in. That might be his death though on DB. He's forced asunder. Bloodrite's out though. He still can't fight. He needs to get out. Priam was bring forward Q. He wants to keep this fight going, but he has no stun to lock down the Terrorblade. And in the end, it still seems like a Motivate.Trust win.
This one was
That's a pretty massive win. Sure, you sacrifice Fearless, you have Jackie join in, pick up a couple of those kills, manage to punish Wami once more. Core-wise, not the best trade, mid for an off lane, but again, having Jackie just show up, apply that pressure is more than enough for Motivate.Trust to feel good about that trade. Jackie, he's actually rushing the Ags next, so he just wants to have that stone form up. It will soften up the Terrorblade by a huge amount. With that win, Motivate.Trust goes straight into Roshan. They've got the Exorcism up level 2 EXO. Rosh not going to last long. AG, no vision out in the Rosh pit at all. Looks like they might not be able to fight back. They are sort of in position to contest an illusional spot, but it's a bit too late.
Jackie will take the Aegis. Army Genius's back's against the wall right now. Now, DB, you saw him in that last team fight. He's just nowhere near farmed enough to really contest Motivate. And this is really concerning for AG, because it does feel like Motivate's got literally everything they could ask for. I mean, nothing's gone wrong yet. Nobody's behind in farm apart from maybe Masteros, but that's a Bloodseeker. I mean, it's not really too important for him to be ahead in farm. He's going for the Axe next anyway, so it's just a very utility-based Bloodseeker we're seeing from the off lane. I mean, what do AG need to do, John? It just feels like their objectives are slowly going to be taken if they don't do something.
They need to hit Ags. Well, actually, they do have the Ags on Azura. So they've got some presence. They need to be able to jump the back line. You can't really rely on Wami to do much with a Rolling Thunder because of the direct Bloodseeker counter pick. So what you can do is at least jump in first with a Void Spirit. Maybe if you manage to pick off the Bloodseeker, say soften him up, and clean up afterwards from AG's side, that could be the way to go. And also keep trying to build up on DB. Sure, you are playing a farm war against Medusa, you're not winning that war. But the Terrorblade still has a good spike when he pops Metamorphosis. You just need to hit that Scotty timing, and you can feel a lot better. AG lining up for the mid. There is enough heroes from Motivate.Trust to slow down that push, and they lose their top tier too. So Outpost opens up for Motivate.Trust, securing the next Roshan for their way, which is still ways off. The Axe timing for Jackie, it's basically done. Free 200 gold away. And the Dusa Ags just makes it nearly impossible for Terrorblade to fight in, even with Metamorphosis. So that entire early spike DB has kind of gets negated because the Petrify is going to be out. It'll be a lot softer to physical damage. It's going to be a lot easier for Jackie to deal with him. And you still have no easy way of melting Jack. We talked about maybe getting the Fusel up on Wami. You can't even farm his Blink up yet. So a long way to go until you find a way to rip through the Mana Shield.
Here we go. Ags up. Jackie will start moving in tier 2 tower. It's going to be a slow process, that's for sure. But again, it will eventually get done, especially if Jackie's just allowed to continue hitting away like this. Azura's going to try and jump in, but the Manta dodge is there on the Aether Remnant. In fact, there's the stone out as well. They'll figure out the hard way. The axe is there. Just continue to try and chip away at the mana pool, but it's just not going to be enough. They need to commit. The bright side, the creep wave has been skipped though. So never mind, they don't need to commit. However, tier 3 top tower is being pinged out. Motivate, they want to go all the way.
Can't fault them. They've got Aegis up for 2 more minutes. They know Jack is really strong. Exorcism's up as well. And AG's team fight is just not enough to handle Jackie unless they get a really good initiation.
Tier 3 is dropping fast. I mean, they dropped the Tombstone, but that's not even reaching Motivate now. I guess it's kind of hurting the illusions. That's one Q. Oh, tree cut down. They found the support Monkey King, but Q has a BKB up, so he's just going to be able to run out of there just fine. Rupture out onto Wami. He needs to stop rolling, and he will. But the chase is still on. Blood Riot out. Salve, not going to be enough. He is still alive, just barely on 40 HP. He is going to make it. Boy, oh boy, that was close. So try again onto the Death Prophet. The main source of damage right now is going to be Jackie, who's still not dying. Out of mana, he might back off, but the thing is, he's got the Aegis up. He wouldn't mind a free reset right now. Like, he's kind of invited him to take his life. Still rushing forward, eventually will finally die. LYM in the meantime will get picked up by Masteros. There'll be a buyback forced out immediately as the Sunder is out from DB. Not sure for what though. They do find Wami. Azura still trying. DB does pop the meta, but the Stone Gaze is there. Petrified up, DB forced to run away. LYM's gonna die back. Masteros, who does silence up the Terrorblade. They are still really struggling to try and defend this tower, these Raxes. More buybacks will fly in. Motivate, they might finally back Azura. He does get in, find Masteros, but he's been petrified again, trying to find a way out. He's been silenced. He has no step charges anyway. Meanwhile, Wami trying to go in on the Medusa. He might die to the right clicks though. One more will do it. He will roll out. DB, he'll keep the fight going. But Jackie's just happy to stand there and keep right-clicking people. With the amount of buybacks committed, I'm not sure if you can call that a successful fight for Army Geniuses. They committed a lot to try and defend that high ground, and will Motivate, they'll be back later on for more.
And they do hold on AG's side. You get to try to catch up a little bit longer, but the lead is at 9k now for Motivate.Trust. And, well, they miss out on double damage, changes into the Arcane Rune now. So I think if they had a DD, they might have been able to go for more. Motivate.Trust, no rush. They could just take a back step, wait for the next Roshan. We're going to see the respawn in 2 minutes. And that will give them time to finish up the Scotty on Jackie. And that's where things really get dicey for Army Geniuses. They're not going to be able to deal with the raw stats of Jackie. They still don't have the best damage coming through from DB. His Scotty's almost done as well, but Motivate.Trust probably not going to wait. Just smoke up and look for a pickoff.
They toss Blood Right, Boundless Strike. They've held down the Void Spirit, and well, he's got no way to purge off the silence, but the Lotus Orb is going to come in. Wommy, he'll save his Q. Is going to be forced to BKB, but in the meantime, they do get that mid-tier 2 tower. Wommy, they're going for a Rolling Thunder out. Stone Gaze, it'll be committed. Petrifies up the Pango roll. Wommy should still be okay, but in the meantime, this Void Spirit has been double silenced up, but again, the Lotus Orb is going to allow him to get out. Fearless, has he gone too far? Not quite. He is still fine. DB's trying to fight this one out with the reflection. It's just not doing anywhere near enough, as now the Wukongs is there to zone them out. Have they got anyone? It's going to be Azura again. He's been petrified and eventually will drop. And it'll be a dieback. Motivate, do they want to force high ground?
Without the Void Spirit, the high ground hold's really tough for AG. Motivate.Trust can just rip right through. You know, I never considered this. Well, I guess we can discuss this later, but the racks are going to fall soon. AG, options limited. Metamorphosis is up on DB, but his damage output isn't great. He will have Scotty flying in. Maybe that's enough. It doesn't feel like it.
I mean, right now, the Raxes are being kind of split. Fearless cannot do this on his own with right-click, so Jackie has to kind of intervene and help out. Boundless is going to be there onto Wommy, but they do not care for the heroes right now. They just want the buildings. Still a very, very slow push here from Motivate. But they will get at least one Rax eventually. Another Rolling Thunder is going to be there from Wommy. Jackie is able to walk out, but the Eye of Skadi slow is proving to be quite painful. He needs some help. Wommy's going to be there. Stone Gaze is not going to be enough, and they do get through the Medusa. The Eye of Skadi proving to be enough. Now they will even lose Fearless on the Death Prophet.
Yeah, they get really big kills on high ground hold this time from AG, and we are seeing the Scotty do a lot of work now. That slow makes it hard for Jackie to just dip out of the fight. They're going to have to contend with the Terrorblade hitting its power spike. Motivate.Trust still not taking the racks, right? Like the ranged racks, the melee racks still stand, so AG are going to be very satisfied with the defense. Lead down to just 5k for Motivate.Trust. Roshan is a long timer though, 2 minutes out. So Motivate.Trust can again take the foot off the pedal, just take it slow, keep farming, hit their own Scotty timing on the Dusa, and maybe just line up for the next Roshan. I think that's going to be a safe play for
Ross. Mid lane, he's been caught out. Not quite dead yet, but is surrounded and eventually will drop. AG
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
starting to get aggressive now, feeling the momentum, the switch up in the game. DB hitting a lot harder on the Terrorblade now. Motivate, it feels like they're lacking some damage, at least for structures. Is that another Eye of Skadi we're seeing here? Jackie's got a point booster queued up.
Radiant's top tower is under
Pretty much.
attack.
He just kind of bought out. The 2 ult orbs are ready on his courier, hiding in the tree line. He's just kind of ready to immediately buy out and just have that running. We talked about farm parity earlier on for Yusa. You do have that 2k lead, but at 26 minutes in, it's not that much anymore. You do have net worth advantage. In the end, the only item you have ahead here on the Dusa is really the Ags. Otherwise, you've got Manta, Dragonlance, Scotty. Basically the same thing that DB has, minus the Dragonlance. So that's where the net worth difference lies. And again, we talked about it. As long as the Metamorphosis is up now for DB, he's got the damage output. He's got that greater presence with what he can do, and for Motivate.Trust, they've got to find a way to handle that terribly, because when he just manages to focus in, they don't have a way of stopping that from coming through onto Jackie. Still, they will reach Ag's timing on Masaros, and I think double Rupture helps the cause. And just holding back Wommy and perhaps holding back Azura, or even just holding back the Terrorblade can make that work. It does allow me to talk about a point here. I never realized, right, like with the way Sunder works and the way Mana Shield works, that Mana Shield actually blocks Sunder damage.
Oh,
swap. You notice that, right? DB would run up, try to sunder, and suddenly they're both high HP. Because all the damage, all the HP Jackie would lose in that exchange, instead goes onto the mana shield.
Right.
So you can't even swap Sunder to try to burst down Jackie, which just looks ridiculous. Because it should be direct HP swap, but it's one of those things. The interaction can be, you know, a bit of a beta game kind of thing.
that's a feature, John. Not beta game. Just a feature. Everything's on purpose in Dota. Nothing's an accident. Roshan is up. Second Roshan of the game. So you got the shards there along with the Aegis.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
AG, not quite aware of the Rosh yet, and I don't necessarily think Motivate are either. I say that, they are huddled up in the triangle, and well, now the Roshan's going to walk right out of the pit. So both teams should be very well aware as Motivate, they have smoked in, they're going to try and get it started. Of course, AG cannot allow this to go down as Motivate will immediately try to go high ground again. If they do manage to pick up this Aegis,
Tower is under attack.
it's not going to take them too long. Wami, the Whirling Thunder in, stun out. This is a good opportunity to just lock down the Medusa, but no disruptions there. Will save Jackie's life, at least for a little bit. Stun's still going out though, but Wami's dead. The Rupture just makes him bleed out. Roshan though still going down. Aegis on the deck, Fearless. He'll be the one to take it on the Death Prophet. Meanwhile, DB is still trying to fight this one out, but he's only aiming Q on the Monkey King, so Jackie can get right back to work. He's going to try and deal with this Medusa, but Fearless will get started on that Terrorblade, and they've claimed him up. DB's in trouble. He will get the Sunder, though, right in the nick of time. The Manta Dodge was there with the final tick of damage. DB might have another chance to kill off Jackie. Jackie's still alive. Yule Scepter will protect, but in the end, the Medusa will go down. They do kill off Barish. DB ruptured up another time. Can they cancel the TP? They can. Balance was there, and eventually DB will drop. It's onto LYM. They should be able to have the Snapfire, and they will. There's actually a full team wipe. Only survivor being Barish, and he brought back on the Undying.
Yeah, that's it's a bit awkward for AG. It looked like a good fight. Putting down Jackie's great, but eventually it is a full team wipe coming out for Motivate.Trust. Heck, more than a team wipe because of that dieback on Snap. So Motivate.Trust get what they want. There's some fun interactions now, Mike, with the Ag Shard on Fearless. And that fear coming out when you channel the Spirit Siphon for long. That's what killed DB. Because he was ruptured up. I was wondering, why is DB running? All right, the shard went the way of Fearless. So you've got that great interaction now, which is amplified by the fact that you've got the Ags up and Masaros. So you can, what you basically do now is rupture 2 heroes, Spirit Siphon 2 heroes, watch them run and kill themselves.
Barish is hit caught out. Wukong's command is going to be committed there by Q, and that'll be Undying gone as now Azura. He's going to try and pick off set 0, but he's been used up. Fearless does get the silence. That'll force out the BKB. But they got set 0 down. Azura, he will be able to TP in time. Wami, he's also okay to roll. Q is trying to keep tabs on where this Pango's going. We'll eventually just kind of leave him be and back off. But back to your point, John, that is a rather interesting way of playing this out. I gotta admit, I haven't seen the Death Prophet shards, mostly because we don't see the hero very often these days. And even then, I don't think people prioritize picking up the shards, but that is a pretty cool interaction with the Rupture.
That it is. I mean, again, it killed off DB. I was just wondering, why is he running back? And I saw the fear status. Like, all right, Fearless, the fearless one, giving fear to everyone else. I don't know if it's something you can reliably pull off every time because it's asking for a lot. It is still really strong and does provide some good scaling for both the Bloodseeker and the DP. Speaking of scaling, though, Jackie about to hit his MKB spike, so that might fix some of the damage issues. He's going to be able to consistently hit out, not miss his shots, and just have some bonus proc as well with the damage coming through. So it does feel a lot better for the Medusa, of course, negating that evasion talent that DB has had. You can see just missing a couple of hits for the Medusa does hurt a ton.
DB gonna Gonna be under vision,
nice
no
spot.
Wami. He's got the Quell out. Motivate.Trust there, blood right. TB's gonna have to tank through it as he's already used the mantra and now the rupture's out. He's gonna be forced to manfight this one. Sunder did not work out in his favor. He's gonna drop.
No buyback.
What did he Sunder? But never mind that, because Azura's been chased down now. He has another step charge in 3 seconds. He's gonna be okay to back out, but like you mentioned, John, DB's without buyback. He doesn't have the gold. That should mean one lane of barracks at least. AG gonna try their best to hold on and just clear out the creep wave. And you know what? Never mind, Motivate, they are lacking a creep wave now to go high ground. But backdoor hasn't kicked in yet. So they still have a bit of time.
Yeah, they finally do clean up the top racks, which they've kind of failed to pierce for the past 2 fights. The backdoor does kick in now, so they are forced to back off. I think, if I saw that right, I think DB tried the Sunder Q and he popped his BKB mid-cast animation. So it went through but did nothing because Sunder doesn't pierce spell immunity.
Right.
Wami.
Be alright. Purge is there though. He's slowed up quite heavily. So he will go into the roll-up, but you've got the rupture. Can the TB finish? Not quite. And what do you do? He was kind of just stuck. He had no other option. He had to try, but he's also without buyback now on this Pango. So that is a buyback on cooldown, though, to be fair. Not a gold problem here for Wami.
Yeah. They have stalled out long enough for the Terrorblade to be back up, though, Mike. So I think in the end, you sacrifice spam, you get the TB back up. You're in a decent position for AG. Like DB is your main hitter, and you kind of want him to be ready to go for the defense. Metamorphosis is still down for a minute, so that can make it a bit awkward, but there is enough time for them to just regroup and go for another set of defense fights. Still Jackie, gonna get started on the high ground, feeling confident putting MGB up.
Yeah, ruptured immediately here, DB. He's gonna have to wait out that duration, but they've lost the tier 3 tower while that's going on.
Dire's middle barracks are under attack.
Where's off now?
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Jump in. Azura is gonna try, but disruption is there, and now the rupture out onto Azura. He'll be forced to step charge away. Nice denying the racks there by DB. Fair enough. I'm not sure Jackie was worried about the gold, but I mean, why not, right? Take everything you can. Problem is, OIM, he is gone. Fearless took him, and now DB. He's surrounded. He'll try to fight, but he cannot. He goes down without buyback. They're onto the tier 4 towers, and GG's called. AG, they've seen enough. Motivate.Trust, they'll get a 2-0 victory. And Jackie drops the 99 in style.
Motivate.Trust winning, what's that, 5 games now? 3 in their best of 5. 2 here, a nice clean sweep coming out from them. AG, they put up a good fight. Game 2, maybe not as close, but game 1 most certainly was a tight one. In this game, though, they went off to a bit of a slower start. You know, in the Terrorblade farm, DB just couldn't manage to build up early. He couldn't reach farm parity early enough. He did manage to hit it for the high ground defense, but at that point, it just became pretty difficult in kind of getting what he wanted. Like, we saw DB try to go for the Sunder plays. He did it twice on Jackie, where he was low HP, Sunder Jackie, and Jackie would still be full HP. He'd just take a little bit of a hit on the mana pool, just like that, and they couldn't clean up. I think if they managed to get different pickoffs, say kill off Fearless first, remove that constant Spirit Siphon in the presence of the ghosts earlier on, that might have been one way to run. But I think it was a bit of an outdraft from AG. Like, they went into the Wami Pango, the Bloodseeker came through for Motivate.Trust. And that just meant Wami, who tends to set the pace for Army Geniuses, couldn't really initiate, couldn't really set up for the team, and just couldn't get to work to get Army Geniuses on the table. So Motivate.Trust plays spectacularly well, draft spectacularly well, and they do, I think, with this win, kind of secure an upper bracket start for themselves as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're not 100% sure yet, John, but they've got 2 more series tomorrow, so they've got plenty of time to rack up the points. I am pretty sure that they are going to make it through to the upper bracket just based off the results so far. Tomorrow's matchups are going to be between them and OB Neon and then NGXC, both of which obviously are also fighting for the upper bracket positions. And I suppose it will be an exciting last day of the group stage. For now, however, it is MLP johnxfire. We'll be back for tomorrow's games, but till then, we'll catch you guys next time.